Beginning, we were ready for it. I think we showed a lot of bravery and commitment to play the way we wanted to play. We generated the energy that we wanted to generate at the stadium, which is incredibly helpful when you play a game like this. And I think the players took the game, grabbed the game from the hand, and I think we deserve to win the game.
There is not the same evaluations in different circumstances. Now I think the referee decided to for the red card, and I don't want to comment this referee decision because I didn't like to do it. For sure, the red card changed totally the game because in the start 11 we had 3 strikers, and Perisic also is a winger, and then has changed totally the situation.
Got identical hair to when you played with him, hasn't he?
It hasn't changed a bit.
Or moved. Very good start to the season for Arsenal and for Mikel Arteta, as we can show you with these stats. Interestingly, only the bottom one did Arsenal actually ever win the league, 2003-04, the unbeaten season. But just say to everybody what you were saying to us off air about Arteta's influences as a manager, because I think that's a really interesting point.
Yeah, you're just asking about, how well he's doing, and I was saying I'm not surprised having worked closely with him and knowing the character he is, and then you put that together with the fact that he's had an education under David Moyes, he's had an education under Arsene Wenger, he's had an education under Pep Guardiola, 3 managers who have been top quality in their own way, who've had different styles, different approaches, and you learn tactically how you want to approach, what you learn off the field about how you approach the game, and you can take out of that what you want to make you the best version of yourself. So, having seen that from him, I'm not surprised that he's having success right now because, they are 3 wonderful people to learn from, and we've seen him in his failures and how or his difficult times and how he was handling himself, and I'm not surprised to see that his team's doing well.
I haven't seen many unhappy players under him, as in moaners. Yeah, Aubameyang is one example. However, the kids and the seniors and the Xhaka situation, he seems to have managed it very, very well and kept everybody happy,
Well, you think about last season and the players that, in his words, he had to get out of the club. And then you look at yesterday, when they scored that goal and Xhaka gets the team together and the spirit and the camaraderie. They just scored a goal, and yet we're all staying here. We're all having a word. We are one team, one unit. What a turnaround that is for Arsenal.
So Arsenal play quite progressively. I think even some Tottenham fans say that the way they play, which is on the counter at times, might be a bit frustrating. But sometimes, does on the counter mean that actually you drop so deep you think, well, we've got safety in numbers, but it's not necessarily as simple as that?
No, it's OK. It's OK. Look at all the numbers there that they do have in the boxes. All the players are back doing what they need to do. There's one just outside the box, but you can get back into a very, very good defensive position and not contribute anything to that defensive spell of work. I mean, look at them. They're all in the box.
But if you're going to counter, I mean, how would you say Tottenham are going to counter from that position? Your Sons and your Richarlisons are too deep to actually counter-attack. So I think they've just, in this game, found themselves not quite in a moment of panic, but overdoing their jobs, not trusting.
And look how free Partey is then.
Yeah, not trusting the defenders to do their jobs. The midfielders need to all step up 5 or 10 yards, step back into midfield where they're doing their own job. They were so guilty of dropping deep, allowing Arsenal, who were terrific on the day. There's no getting away from that.
And even though this is a Loris Howler, there's still, look how many Tottenham players are back there.
Again, you can get players back, but then what happens is there's so many players back, nobody knows who to mark. You've doubled up on the amount that need to be there, really, and then you start passing them. But he was your man, or was he your man? Do your job.
Tottenham had a spell just before half-time
just after the
game where if they'd have scored one of the 2 of their opportunities, if they'd have been a bit more ruthless, which they have been at times in the season, the game could have been differently. But if you play as negatively as Tottenham did in that approach, and you're not ruthless and you don't take them opportunities, you're going to get criticised for the way you've approached it.
Yeah, what I spotted with Arsenal, and I've not said this for a long time about Arsenal, all those little sort of loose balls, all those little balls that were in between a Spurs player and an Arsenal player, Arsenal won. Just those little fighting balls, it's just there, and they fought and they wanted it. They're the bits. As a Spurs player, you're thinking, oh, he's stronger than me. Oh, he's got there before me. It's mental doubt. Arsenal were very mentally strong in that game.
So after Jesus made it 2-1, Royal got sent off, then Arsenal made it 3-1. Let's have a word with Chris Foy. Chris, there's quite a lot of a debate about this red card. What did you feel as to the validity of the decision?
Yeah, it's the correct call, and I think that between the referee and his assistant Gary Bezic, they've certainly got this right. And I think the clues with this challenge are the ball itself, because the player doesn't make any attempt to play the ball. You'll see it here. Emerson Royal, the ball is nowhere near him, and he just rakes him down the back of the leg. I mean, it's a dangerous tackle. And when we talk about player safety, you see there the ball, he's not even challenging for the ball. Does it endanger the player's safety? It does. But between the two match officials, Gary Bezic and Anthony Taylor, they've made the right call. That is definitely a red card.
We think the linesman helped out here. Leon, what's your thought? Look, the linesman's right on the ball, literally.
Yeah, and he's signalling to the referee there. I just thought it was harsh at the time. I thought, it's in the version, it's a strong yellow. I would have been OK if that would have been just a yellow and not a red card. But I can't argue strongly enough to say that it's not a red card. It's into that gap, but in my opinion, it probably should have just been a yellow card.
Yeah, I'd go red. I'd go with Chris. I think it's a red, and I think the reason that Chris gave for me is perfect, because if Ozzy's this side, I'm always going to have the ball on this side, so I'm in between the two, and that's exactly what the situation was. I just think it was a tackle that was made lazy. I think you're right,
yeah.
And he was having a torrid day as well. He was, to be fair, and he was frustrated. But for me, it's dangerous.
I think it's one of those, and we'll speak to Chris a little bit later, thank you, that if it had been given a yellow, that wouldn't have been overturned either. And so, some referees would have only given a yellow, and the other half would give a red, and that's, that's the way it is.
It's an in-between one.
And it's an in-between one, and we're happy with the on-field decision.
Absolutely.
Now, Granit Xhaka's playing well, isn't he? And that's not something that we've said that often, that regularly, because he's playing further up the pitch. That's the point.
Yeah, I think he plays for his country further up the pitch as well, and he seems to be, enjoying it, and he seems to be smiling. Arsenal seem to be getting better performances from him, and he's affecting football matches in a positive way. 2-3 years ago, when he's having arguments with the fans and he's throwing his shirt on the floor, I'm thinking he's out the door.
He's thinking he's out the door. He said he was out the door.
He's got to have something else, isn't he?
Well, he's becoming Arsenal's left-footed Kevin De Bruyne, isn't he? He's playing further up the pitch. He's playing in that position. He's getting on the ball. He's making things happen. He's making assists with those beautifully flighted left-foot passes. He's scoring goals. And, he seems such a strong character within that dressing room. Whether he's captain or not, they all seem to look for him for leadership and for guidance. And you look how much further up the pitch he's playing now than he has done previously in his Arsenal career. Having Partey behind him to do that defensive work's allowed him to free himself up a bit more.
Interestingly, one of those two touches as his own penalty area, it led to Tottenham's penalty because it was a bad pass back to Gabriel. I think he's basically saying, I never was a defensive midfielder. Yeah. Why have you always played me there?
Basically, keep him away from Arsenal's goal and allow him a bit more freedom up the pitch. Yeah. He's a good footballer. It's just on the odd occasion he loses his head and he lets himself down and the club down. Get him up the pitch, allow him to do what he's good at.